Greetings, it's Miss Nigeria, founder of Heart and Soul Goals, a place where ambitious women can learn to balance their ambition with this sacred self-care. So today we're talking about the remarkable difference between basic self-care and sacred self-care. Now this is a really important topic, and the reason why is because the topic of self-care is such an abstract topic. If you go online and you Google self-care, you're going to see a variety, a range of different things. You're going to see people that are talking about, beauty products. You're going to see people talking about, getting their hair and nails done. You'll see people talking about working out at the gym. Self-care can mean so many different things, and the reason why is because as human beings, we are multifaceted. We have a mental body, we have a spiritual body, we have a physical body. So our self-care really is related to all aspects of ourselves. And, then there are the aspects of, people that live a particular lifestyle. So let's say that you're a nurse and you work with a lot of patients. Nurses will need a certain type of a certain type of self-care. If you are a new mom, you might need a certain kind of self-care. So self-care really is just a very abstract word that can, apply to so many different things. But I want to talk about basic self-care and sacred self-care. And the reason why is because, in my business, in the work that I do, I work with a lot of spiritual women, and I am a spiritual leader and a spiritual student as well. And so sacred self-care is very, very important. Now, in my business, I actually incorporate both basic self-care and sacred self-care. But if you are here on my channel with me and you are learning from me and you're on this journey with me, you're going to hear me use the word sacred self-care a lot. So I kind of want to dig into, the difference between the two. So to get started, when it comes to self-care, the basic definition of self-care is, it comes from dictionary.com, and dictionary.com says that self-care is simply the act of attending to one's physical or mental health, generally without medical or other professional consultation, and the products or practices used to soothe oneself. Now, I do agree with that to a certain extent, but I would also add that self-care can also incorporate the support that you do get from other people like doctors and practitioners and therapists and whatnot. I still consider that an aspect of self-care because you're making the decision to work with someone. That's an aspect of self-care. So that's really the basic, definition of self-care. It's really just the act of attending to your needs. That's the most simple version of self-care. So when you look at that, I think that we all can kind of understand what that means. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty straightforward. So basic self-care is really good for, it's good for getting started. If you're someone who is new to wellness and you're new to taking responsibility for your health, basic self-care is a very good way to get started. It's important for everybody, especially if you're a person who is, living a very unhealthy lifestyle. If you're living an unhealthy lifestyle, naturally you're going to start from an unhealthy life, and you're going to move into learning some basic self-care. But I would also say that, as we grow as adults and individuals, self-care is really just going to be an important part of our lives as adults anyway, because when you think about it, when we were growing up as children, we had our parents and our family to take care of us. But as we become adults, then it becomes our responsibility to actually learn how to parent ourselves, and for a lot of us, reparent ourselves and learn how to give ourselves all the things that we were not able to get from our family. So that's really, kind of where basic self-care starts. Everybody needs basic self-care. Everybody needs to know how to meet their needs and how to take care of their physical needs, their emotional needs, their financial needs. We all need to learn how to do that. Now, when you start bringing in this concept, this beautiful concept that I love called sacred self-care. It really just takes self-care to a whole nother level, you know? So again, when we're talking about basic self-care, we're talking about all the simple things that we need to basically just be able to meet our needs. When we start talking about sacred self-care, we are talking about an entire lifestyle. We're talking about an entire mindset. And so the definition that I like to give for sacred self-care is that sacred self-care is a divine responsibility. It is a divine responsibility that allows us to care for ourselves deeply from a place of love and compassion instead of doing it from a place of obligation or guilt or low energy. And it's also a very intentional practice that allows us to incorporate and prioritize our energy and our spirituality and to find harmony amongst all the different aspects of our lives. And so it's a very, very beautiful way of practicing self-care because it prioritizes one of the highest aspects of self-care, which is your energy and your spirituality. And that's really important because when you are prioritizing your energy needs and your spirituality, it allows you to really just be a fully energized being who is, you know, fulfilling your purpose, who is just moving through life as a heart-centered individual who is really just fully energized. And so it's really a lifestyle and it's a mindset. It's not simply about, you know, doing different tasks, and it's not simply about maintenance, but it's an entire lifestyle. It's about prioritizing your energy and your spirituality. It's about finding harmony amongst all aspects of your life. And it's also about taking care of yourself, again, from a place of love and compassion, rather than doing it from a place of obligation and guilt and low energy. So again, basic self-care really allows you to get started. And when you talk about basic self-care, an example of this would be, you know, something simple as starting a routine, you know, maybe starting a basic wellness routine, working out at the gym, drinking some water every day. That could be an example of basic self-care. Sacred self-care is, you know, an example of that would be, you know, beginning to discover your purpose, prioritizing your energy and looking at how are you using your energy, how are you abusing your energy, and prioritizing, you know, how you are moving through the world. And so these things, again, are important because it speaks to where you are headed in your life and how you're moving through your life. So if you're just getting started on your journey, then basic self-care probably is going to be where you get started. If you've never, you know, eaten healthy foods, or you've never really learned how to take care of yourself, you've never really learned how to, you know, prioritize your needs, most likely basic self-care is where you're going to get started. But once you get to the point in your life where you are really ready to just be a fully energized, vibrant woman who is moving through life with ease, moving through life with flow, who is connected to your heart, connected to your purpose, that's when you are probably going to be ready for sacred self-care. It's about seeing yourself the way that God sees you. It's about knowing that you are a divine individual who is here to fulfill your purpose. It's about knowing that, you know, being well and healthy is your birthright. It's about knowing that you did not come here to be sick and to be full of disease and to be, you know, unhappy. It's about incorporating all aspects of your, you know, finding harmony amongst all aspects of your life so that you have a beautiful, you know, career, so that you have wonderful relationships, so that you are, you know, financially well and you're able to have more than enough money to take care of yourself. It's all those things together, but it's mostly inspired by your connection to a higher source. It's mostly inspired by your connection to, you know, your spirituality and your energy. So when I speak about sacred self-care, that's what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about a lifestyle. I'm speaking about a mindset. I'm speaking about a new way of moving through life that really prioritizes your joy, you know, your fulfillment, your purpose. It's all those things, right? So we combined, both of those things in my business. So you'll see me do videos here and there that cover basic self-care, where I'll talk about things like eating healthy food, where to grocery shop. I'll talk about, things like moving your body and how to choose the best wellness practitioners. But then you'll see me do some videos that are more related to spiritual self-love, that are more related to, spirituality, that are more related to energy. And so that's basically how we can decipher the difference between basic self-care and sacred self-care. So I do have a lot more information about this also on my website. I have a couple of blog posts that you can check out if you want a little bit more information on these different topics that I speak about as well. And I think that this is very important for us to start, prioritizing these things, especially with the way that we are, this new world that we're moving into. Spirituality and energy is going to be so important for everyone. It's always been important, but if you have not been prioritizing that, or you don't understand the value in that, you don't understand how important it is, now is the time more than anything to really begin to tap into your spiritual practice. Because I can tell you, from personal experience, that when you really begin to prioritize energy and spirituality, it absolutely impacts every single aspect of your life in a very, very positive way. There is no healing without spiritual healing. And so when you start with prioritizing energy and spirituality, it is going to naturally improve and impact every single aspect of your life. So if you are wanting to find out more about sacred self-care, even basic self-care, you can feel free to check out my website. It's www.heartandsoulgoals.com. I also have a free quiz that you can check out below that will allow you to see how well you're taking good care of yourself. So I look forward to continuing to assist you, to guide you on your journey, and hopefully to encourage you. And I will see you in my next video.